Da, da, da. Dude, matching shirts. Hey, what's up, shirt brother?
Your brother, tell me you ain't never gonna do another rule again.
Hello. Man,
Hello.
what a week. Man, coming off hot episode 69. Where do we even go from
Mm,
here?
mm-hmm. Down, straight down. I'm thinking fiery
Yeah.
crash. So pretty excited about that. There's never been boring crashes.
Well,
I'm thinking of
no.
like sports stars who have crumbling end of careers. Like we're gonna be Jerry Rice on the Seattle Seahawks.
Jeez,
Our
I don't even
10-year
remember
wing.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Um, he's also on the Broncos or like the. I was gonna say Joe Montana on the Chiefs, but I believe he actually went to the AFC Championship one of those years with the Chiefs. Um, but yeah, I mean, maybe Michael Jordan with the Wizard would resonate better with people.
Wayne
But I mean, he
Gretzky on
still
the
had the
St.
elite
Louis
years.
Blues.
There you go. There you go. We'll put it in hockey style. Yammer Yager everywhere.
On every
But he's still
team.
playing, so that doesn't count. He's still playing. He's still in like the KHL or KHL minors or whatever.
Yeah.
Owner player,
One of
like
my
it's
favorite.
1936.
Do you know the story about him playing in a Czech league? And to my knowledge, he's still single. Um, and like I think he's still dating like 20-year-old models, like super like Eastern European supermodels, to the point where when they did his jersey retirement this year in Pittsburgh, he was like, whatever her name is, like Marlena. I don't know. He's like, and I want to thank Marlena, who doesn't know any of these people or doesn't like believe me that I played anything, but I just tell her the stories and she believes me because she wasn't alive. That's paraphrasing, but like the crowd was like insane. Like he just like doing a humble brag on it. And like 7 or 8 years ago, there was this girl, like literally a Czech supermodel, who took a picture, like a selfie
Yep.
with him, yeah, in bed, like while he was still
It's
sleeping. She's like 18 years old, and she's like, she tried to blackmail him to say like, "Hey, if you don't pay me whatever, I'm gonna release this picture. I'm gonna send it public." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, I don't care.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's like,
do
cool.
it."
So I get street cred and my money still. Yeah,
Yeah,
he literally called her bluff. Like that is the most stud move ever by us. Like who are you?
I
What
know.
do you mean? You're gonna blackmail the single playboy? I don't understand what that means. Like this girl clearly is so dumb that she doesn't even understand how blackmail works.
Yeah, and so I guess that's my way of saying if there's any 20-year-old supermodels out there that want to blackmail
Mhm.
me, go for it. I dare you. Try to. Try to
What?
do it. Yeah, you
Oh,
better
wow. The
not.
challenge
You
is
better
out
not.
there. Prove him
Yeah, you
wrong,
do it.
ladies. Prove him wrong.
Prove
The
me
bar
wrong.
the bar has been set. The line has been drawn in the sand. Your move, really young hot girls, women 18 and older.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. Age of convenience. My daddy worked hard for this.
You know what? I don't want to jinx it, but I almost feel like we're not
Mhm.
like totally like 5 seconds off, like we have been the last few weeks.
N-
And maybe the
no.
programming is even working in Riverside. I don't know.
Oh, boy. That is nice to not see each other like wait. I think he's done. I think he's done. So Yeah, that definitely speaks better because at least if the content isn't good, if the recording's good, then one less thing.
I gotta
So yeah,
wonder how many people made it through the 69 just with that, because we
yeah.
got a decent amount for our numbers of views, but it's because I subtitled it like review of Nick Cage movie Prisoners of the Ghostland. So I wonder how many people earnestly thought it was like a review of the movie.
Oh, even better if someone
Yeah.
stumbled upon our podcast because which is weird because it's like, you know what? I'm looking for a review of 2021 Nick Cage's Prisoners of Ghostland. So I'm going to check the pod world. Strangely familiar. Maybe they just review familiar actors in strange movies. This would be perfect for me. And then they're like, what the fuck is this? These trolls. What are these guys rambling about?
Yeah, no movie clips at all. No real,
Nope.
never
Mm-mm.
reviewed anything once. Yeah,
Nope.
just a lot of
You
hate. I
get
hope
nothing. You
Nick
get
didn't watch it.
real. Yeah. Um. Well, I like to think that the Nick Cage I imagine and created in my mind, I think he could understand. He can get down with it. Um. You got to be able to laugh at yourself, and he looks like a man who has had to laugh at himself to keep his
Yeah.
career going. So, one thing we didn't talk about because we had such a strong, we've never come in guns a blazing on an episode so much. Did we talk about the Bruins and how things panned out? I don't think we ever addressed it. So
No,
and as
no,
far as your counseling, we're gonna address that. We're gonna address it. So the Bruins got
we don't
eliminated
have to.
from. Yeah, we do.
Stop,
Folks, the
don't come
Bruins
back.
were eliminated in game 6 of the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah, we don't just call it round 2. Yeah,
No, it sounds
hockey
way
forever has
cooler
done
and
this
more.
stupidest like way. It used to be like Adams Division semifinals, Adams Division finals, but that was really the second round, and then it became like when they did the full like 1 through 8, they did like
Yeah.
first round, second round, but now they're back to the Atlantic Division or whatever, Eastern Conference quarterfinals, semifinals, and just I don't know. It's very confusing. But yeah, the Bees are out. I'm not surprised. Going into the year, I mean, we knew last year I swore off hockey forever in
Mm-hmm.
fandom. I couldn't do it again, but they brought me back in. I was expecting this season to be terrible. I didn't think the Bruins were going to make the playoffs. A lot of young guys. They overachieved and they won a round in the playoffs. They had no business against the Florida Panthers in the second round. They didn't have the talent, and they almost pushed it to a 7th game. So it's hard to be disappointed, except they just looked so bad in some of those games. It was very hard to watch. It'd be different if it was like very exciting games and it came down to it, but it's hard when your team plays really poorly. It's like watching,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure as a Yankee fan, it's like watching them go like get like a 2-hit playoff game, which they've done in their recent past with like all-star lineups, especially those 2000 teams or those
Yeah.
$300 million teams that would go like 1 for 29 against just stud pitchers, and you're just like, why it's just it sucks to watch that. Except the
And
Bruins didn't have that kind of talent. They got a couple talented guys, a good goalie, and they had it's where it should have ended. I'll say that. I'm not terribly disappointed.
and who's their good goalie?
Jeremy Swayman. And
How old
actually,
is he?
Linus Allmark is their other goalie, who's very good
Well,
too. So
yeah.
they got decisions to make in the off season.
Oh, Linus Ulmark is a good goalie. Well, that's cool. I mean, he
former
sounds like
Sabre.
he'd be. I wish the Sabres could get a good goalie because that Levi fella isn't good. I mean, UPL is okay, but man, if we could get a guy like Linus Ullmark, that would change everything. But until that happens,
You know, you
dumb.
guys can't
But
afford
yeah,
$5
man,
million a year.
it's it's the shit thing about fandom, and that's I'd say that's just as hard. I don't know. It stinks because I have two different fandoms that I deal with, two different styles of fandoms. Um, I have the Sabres and Raiders side of thing, which is like you have no expectations. You just have a year of frustrations, really, with a couple high points in them. Not that give you false hope, because it never feels like it's gonna be something big. It's just like, oh, I got to enjoy that game because they won. Like last year, example would be Raiders beating the Chiefs on Christmas Day. Like it's just like, oh, that's awesome. Like what a nice treat to just beat the Chiefs,
A
knowing
moment.
that yes, it's a moment. Granted, the Chiefs went on and won a Super Bowl, and I think they concerned themselves. Hey, the Raiders are the
Yeah.
last team to beat the Chiefs. But anyway. Then I have the Yankees, and going into this year, I'm like, this is going to be a down year for the Yankees. I don't think the clubhouse has been right the last couple of years and everything. And I have a chat with like 5 other Yankee friends, and we were giving predictions at the beginning of the year. And I just checked what I thought the Yankees were going to finish, and I said they would finish with a record of 88-74. So 14 games above 500. The Yankees are currently, make sure I have the number right, 36-17. There's like 110 games left, and they're more than 14 games above 500 right now. They are 19 games above 500. But this is the problem. This is what the Yankees do. They go, we're doing great. They do what Boston did last year. And it's like, dude, the regular season, steamrolling through. Like, no one can don't stop me now. And then they come to the playoffs and they're like, how am I baseball? Woo, this is so hard. Where other teams go to that like next level, the Yankees have notoriously they keep crumbling. They just keep falling apart in the playoffs. So it's like, I like watching the games win, but somewhere there's always something deep in the back of my head being like, it doesn't fucking matter. Stop being excited. Like last night was a perfect example because they're on the West Coast and they were playing the San Diego Padres. Juan Soto, newcomer to the Yankees, came from the Padres. So Juan Soto goes up to bat in the third inning and gets booed. Juan Soto blasts a home run to shut up the crowd. And then Aaron Judge comes up behind him and blasts a home run right down the throat of this crowd. And then Verdugo comes up after him, blasts, but hits the wall. Dudes. No home run. However, then Giancarlo Stanton comes up to the plate and hits a home run. So, like, it's just the Yankees' main guys just smashing home runs. I'm like, la, la, la. I'm like, they're going to win every single game until the end of time. But, it's so frustrating because it doesn't matter. None of this matters because they're going to go to the postseason and rip my heart out. But luckily, at least in baseball, when the postseason does inevitably hurt my soul, it's like, okay, I just go watch football. But like when your life crumbles in football, there's not a lot to fall back on because it's January. You're like, it's shitty outside. We're not in any part of the NBA that even makes me want to fake like I give a crap yet. Like Syracuse basketball certainly isn't going to lift me out of a funk. Like when your team goes down in football, it's sad. It's really sad. I love sports.
Yeah, it's weird how like that stuff gets in your DNA and you're just like you can almost like predict exactly what's going to happen because it's so written in your DNA about like what happens with sports. Like I know for the Bruins they've had a lot of success over 100 years. They've won 7 cups. So that's not a lot compared to like the Montreal Canadiens 20 something or whatever. But they kind of like cheated in the NHL for a long time. But I can almost guarantee that I'll know how they're going to go out, how they're going to lose because I've seen it so much. Like the Bruins like probably have the most second place finishes or finalist finishes or like heartbreaking losses that like any franchise has ever had. They've been up 3-0 and have lost. One of the only teams to ever do that. It's like they have these like very like last year they were up 3-1 in this series. They're like the Happy Gilmore records where it's like I'm the only guy to take my skate off and try to stab someone. It's like they have all these things that no other team has done in 100 years to like really break your heart. Like the too many men on the ice penalties. Like famously 1979 against the Canadians, they were up. They got too many men on the ice with like a few minutes left where they would have won. And they ended up losing, or the Canadians tied it up, and then the Canadians won it in overtime. So they have like all these spectacular defeats, like really, really guttural, just like ultimate losses where they just blow it. And if you go through their history, even in the last like 20 to 30 years, oftentimes the teams that the Bruins lose to in the playoffs goes on to either win the Stanley Cup or at least go to the Stanley Cup final. So they're like always there, and it's like, is it better to have that though as a fandom than it is like, let's say, be a Sabres fan? No offense, for a little while where like they don't even like sniff it for a while. Like I can't tell if it's like you'd rather be like within a grasp, like make it to some finals, have some extended playoff runs, have some success over years, but come up short, or to never even like get close. Like what's more painful?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, that's why in the sports world, if you're looking geographically, the sports fans in Buffalo have dealt with just such an obscure concept of like mediocrity between two amazing Bills teams that can't get it done. Like two like really, really exciting where the world is cheering them on Bills teams set 25, 30 years apart with mediocrity in the middle of like no aspirations to win, but like none of it ends up panning out. And then you have the Sabres who literally have done the same thing where it's like so close to winning a Stanley Cup, crumble, and then being like piles of trash again, but with like this aspiration of like young talent. Like the fans in the city of Buffalo have just been dealt both versions of bullshit with no success stories amongst them. It's rough, man. Sports.
Have any
rough.
of the minor league teams ever won something?
Ooh.
Like, do you know that? Or they have like a soccer, lacrosse, or like?
Well, but the Bandits recently won the oh geez, I always forget the two leagues of
Is it like National Lacrosse League or something like
National
that?
Lacrosse League or Major League Lacrosse? National Lacrosse League. So the NLL. Buffalo Bandits just repeat championed. I think this week. It was I think it was within the last week. So in the city of Buffalo does really get involved in Bandits games, and that's probably out of necessity. Like it's for like mental health awareness. Like they're like, here, you need to cheer these people on because these people might actually win a championship for you. Like, so the city is like, yes, let's go Bandits, because it's like, please, you're literally the reason people are hanging on to a thread. Everyone thought Terry Pagula was going to come in and fix everything, and it has not happened.
I think it's so funny that lacrosse has the balls to have more than one professional league. Like, no reason to have that.
I think Major League Lacrosse still exists because I think one is indoor and one is box.
Oh, okay.
So I think the more popular one is National Lacrosse League that the Bandits are in. Yeah, Major League Lacrosse actually doesn't even exist anymore. Rest in peace.
Okay. All right, so stop shouting at us, guys, through your speakers. We know, okay? We know.
Yeah, right? Jeez, God, just fact checking. One thing I heard just before if we choose to jump off sports, is one thing I heard today is the best stat probably ever. And this is going against any Jets fans out there. So the AFC East, has 4 teams in it. As far as division titles go, the Jets are ranked 5th. Mind
is that because the Colts?
Let's crunch those numbers again.
Didn't they?
Let's crunch those numbers again. The Jets are in the AFC East. The AFC East has 4 teams in it, and they are in 5th place when it comes to league titles or division titles. And that is because the Indianapolis Colts, who have not been in the AFC East for like 20 years, have more AFC East division titles than the Jets. They have 2 more than the Jets do. So the best is that you're in a league with
That's
4
gotta
people
be on a
and
t-shirt.
you're in 5th place. It's so insulting. I love dumb math. Like that's just it's so good. It's so good. Oh.
Let's before we get also too far into the podcast. So I'm sure I guess we started off. Oh yeah, so the last episode, I was like, if nobody made it through the last episode, we did make a decision at the end of episode 69 that we are going to run a hot debate in episode 71, next episode. And please, folks, you're welcome to pitch us debate topics, other movie reviews. It just costs as much money as you want to spend on us. But we are going to do
like
the great Creed versus Nickelback debate.
I feel like when you were just talking there, we should have had like Sarah McLachlan playing in the background. It's like, listen, for the price of a cup of coffee a day, you can have these morons debate anything you want, and they will do the hard work and research that you so deserve for your topic. Are you sick and tired of no one at the water cooler wanting to listen to your bullshit? Well, these guys will actively hate each other for it.
Well, and then it's not even just like a cup of coffee a day, because that implies that you're buying more than one coffee in a month. This is just the cost of one cup of coffee ever. We will debate. We'll debate
gas station coffee. Like we're not talking that fancy Starbucks stuff. Yeah.
So Jeff's going to take the side of Nickelback. I'm going to take the side of Creed, the great butt rock debate. And I don't know. We'll have to see. What's crazy is because we even talked about it. My phone, like my Google News feed now comes up with like, it's just coming up with like 90, like it just heard it, algorithm shit. So now it's like I get Nickelback and Creed articles now popping up, and you can be sure I'm bookmarking them, like countdowns, rankings. I mean, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna research some numbers for sure. I don't know what numbers, but I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
So episode 71. That's what it'll be.
Yeah. I got a lot in front of me. So, and because debates are, think presidential debates. It's there's, like we said our last show, I said that, you want to look for objective evidence, but don't be afraid to get subjective. Especially when things start falling apart. I am not afraid to go on my phone the entire time. But it's not only just what do you bring to the table that your argument does well, in this case, your band, but can you bring up the negatives about the other band? Like that's part of a debate, is being like, well, you know what this band doesn't do. So it's really interesting. The research can go in a lot of different directions, numbers, share things from the heart. You can, I'm willing to criticize haircuts, outfits. Like I'm going for the throat. I'm looking for a W here. And we want people to not only listen to the debate, but I want every listener at the end of the episode to go, that guy won. Because debates are won. Discussions aren't won. Debates are won. If you debate, someone wins a debate. All right. If I could get a podium, maybe I'll go out and buy a podium.
I gotta say is
stand in front of a podium.
You better not lean on that hair argument. You got ramen noodle head over there, Chad Kroger. So I'd say maybe don't go down that alley, okay? I'd say maybe stay off that street, huh?
That is a good point. I did not think of that. Yeah, but the goatee makes it cool, right? Doesn't it make it not look weird?
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
He is
a lot to
ugly
think
human.
about. A lot to think
A
about.
lot. Oh yeah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. um,
I'm
hey,
excited though.
let's catch up on the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. We got our delay again.
We're off again.
We
Yep.
need to. We really need to pick up one of the greatest moments that ever happened in game show history this week. Just that you sent me that's making the rounds. One of Pat Sajak's last episodes. I want your feedback. So, from the biggest Wheel of Fortune fan that I know, I gotta hear. I gotta hear your take on this. Like, is this scene real? Is this guy real? Let me please share. Is this a real thing that actually happened? Let's put it up for anybody that hasn't seen it. This is well, you see the title there. This guy, Wheel of Fortune, it's a toss up, the $1,000 toss up. Just listen to this if you haven't seen it
The
already.
first toss up is worth $1,000. Category is phrase, and off we go. Tavares, right in the butt. No.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah. Much better answer.
Oh my God.
That's $1,000. Our first toss
So,
up is worth $1,000.
right in the butt is his guess. And right when he guesses it, what letters does he have on the board? So, right isn't even a 4-letter word. So, the actual puzzle was this is the best. And he basically had an I and E. The last word looked like it could have been but yeah, where? What? I love it. I wish the Wheel of Fortune, great game already. But if we had more unhinged guesses like that, I think it would just be way
Absolutely.
better. The fact that they actually showed it, yeah.
Like, it's Wheel of Fortune wants to act like it's like still wholesome and like kind of like, oh wow, everything's great, but like, no, let's give it. Listen, you know what also used to be kind of wholesome was Family Feud, but let's steer into the skid. Like, let's Steve Harvey the shit out of Wheel of Fortune. Let's turn it into a fucking sideshow and get dumb, weird puzzles and shit. Like, in fact, let's throw out Seacrest to replace him. Let's get Steve Harvey to replace it and just make it insane. But yeah, I think they need to embrace the complete chaos. And because, listen, go viral, Wheel. You need that viral social media attention.
I love that he also retired like 8 months ago, supposedly, but what did he record? 10,000 episodes? So we still had another 20 years of Pat Sajak. Like, this announcement happened a long time ago, and he's still going.
Yeah,
He'll be on forever.
It's the shining moments because, like I said, I love the concept of the show, but the show has become nauseating. The guests on the show are fucking terrible to deal with, and that's literally why I won't watch it. I want to play along with the puzzles, but the guests are horrible. It is cheesy pieces of trash. But that's why I love the lady, the lady across the way from him, who's on the other end of the 3 players. When he says right in the butt, that's what you hear. The what? Because she couldn't even hold back her sassiness to just go, check out this motherfucker. Like, it's so good. That adds to it so well that she couldn't even hold it in. The lady between them tried to restrain herself. The person who said this is the best, she was in the middle and tried to restrain herself. But the other lady is like, what? It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's you also sent me maybe a couple weeks ago a potential Jeopardy pop culture team up. where
Yeah.
you were like, hey, maybe we could get together a Jeopardy team about pop culture. And there's did you look into it? Like, did you take the quiz or anything like that? Did you
I
like come up
haven't
with a
because
team
I
name,
forget
or did
I
you just
forget
like
what I'm doing at
briefly
all
look into the
times.
idea?
Yeah. I do watch. It's probably I'm gonna look it up and it's gonna be like it's closed now. Jeopardy pop culture.
It's not.
Because
And in fact, I have it pulled up right now, and I
Okay.
thought maybe we could do the pop culture quiz together on the pod.
Interesting. How to apply? Figure out your team. Jesus. One team managed to register and create a new team. After they register, they will receive a team code. The two other players will join existing team. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so we would have to take the test. Well, I don't want to do it necessarily to cheat, because in the off shot chance that we would actually achieve something, I could see them being like, well, there's a podcast out there where these guys openly cheated by doing their test together on a podcast. It's got to be on the up and up, Matt. Because that'd feel like the Yankee season. It'd be like, you got selected for the show, but we heard there's a podcast where you cheated, so you're disqualified. I'd be like, oh. But what we could do is, I wonder if we take
my
the
thought
test
was we probably
separately.
aren't going to do well on it anyway.
See, you fucking negative, Nancy. Jesus, give yourself some credit. I don't want to be your teammate if you're going to be that negative. Jeez. You know what?
Well, here's the thing.
What?
It's already pulled up.
Jesus Christ. Strange fam. All right. Well, I guess we'll see how this goes.
See, we can just come up with another name if we need to. Considering we're on a delay. Celebrity Kids. Apple and Moses are the names of Gwyneth Paltrow's two children with this
Chris Martin.
Chris Martin.
Hip hop.
Oh, beef. I didn't put what is. Shit.
No, you don't have to.
In the diss track Tailor-Made Freestyle, Drake used AI to replicate the voice of Tupac and Snoop Dogg to insult this rapper.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick?
Yes, Kendrick Lamar.
All right.
Oh, I think you got
Movie
it.
series.
Movie series
Kate
characters.
Blanchett. Yep. Play the elf.
What the hell was her name?
This elf. Oh, which Kate Blanchett? I don't remember.
Aowen?
Oh. It's not Aowen. No, I know it's not.
Does that live?
2024, part 2. Continue the story of legend murderer Robert Durst.
Nope.
Yeesh.
Jesus.
This sure is pop.
Actors going green.
2024, she won a Tony for Best Actress in a Musical for her work as Elphaba in Wicked, 2004. Oh, no. I don't think we got to worry about accidentally doing well.
The Academy of Country Music.
Crash My Party album, the album of the decade. Is that like a Luke Bryan deal or something?
I don't know. Toby Keith?
Really?
I don't know. I don't fucking know anything.
Toby Keith.
Country?
Oh, shit. I don't know.
2024 ad campaign for this store featured Kristen Wiig, Target.
Yes.
TV ads.
It's a hit.
Clara Peller was famous for asking this question in ads. Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? That's a question, form of a question.
Women on TV.
Luann noted, even Louis Vuitton makes mistakes.
The supermodel thing.
One of those Bravo shows.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Catwalk bullshit.
Enola Holmes star. What's her name? Millie Bobby
Brown.
Brown. Yes. Enola Holmes star.
TV locations.
This city was the setting of ER.
Chicago.
15 seasons. Is it
Chicago.
Chicago? Yeah. Let's go. He directed and choreographed the original Sweet Charity and Chicago on Broadway.
He directed and choreographed. Fucking no.
No idea. This isn't popular.
It's going viral.
And Crank That by this artist.
Soulja Boy.
Got the nation
Soulja Boy.
cranking
The
and
answer's
Superman.
Soulja Boy. Soulja
Soul-
Boy.
Soul.
Soulja.
Did I spell it right? Soulja.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Left. I get it. Wrath of
1990s.
Farrakhan, Thelma and Louise.
There-
SNL.
No. In Living
Oh,
Color.
No. Living.
In Living Color.
I
you
put
clown.
Living Color. Oh no! Damn it! Yeah, dang it.
God.
Before the Gorillas, Damon fronted the British band. Blur. Song 2
Yes.
was Blur. Brit Rock. Before and after. TV show you'd get if Archie and Edith Bunker got animated and moved to Quahog. Oh, Family Guy. All in the
All in the
Family Guy. Whew. Blanche and the Younger Man was an episode of this sitcom.
Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
Recent TV.
Danny Strong co-created this drama about hip-hop mogul and the family
Empire?
business. Oh.
Empire.
Empire? All right. Just saying, don't show up, don't come out, don't start caring about me now.
I got nothing.
I don't know.
Perfect.
Sports quotes. Here we go. Muhammad Ali famously used
Float like a butterfly.
bee. Float like a butterfly.
Stink like a flea.
94. Queen of Tejano music had a hit.
Gloria Estefan.
El Chico del Apartamento 512. Tejano, I think it's
Or
Selena. It's Queen
Gloria
of Tejano.
Estefan. Okay.
Mhm.
C.
Playing this character in Poor Things. Shit! What's her name?
You watched
I
it,
watched it too, and I recommended it even maybe.
but you just can't remember the main
I don't
character?
remember her name.
Okay. Good, because you remember her
Naked Naked Tits. Yeah.
Clip of the former child
Clip
star
of this
went viral.
former child star went viral. I actually do cuss a little. Lindsay Lohan? I don't know.
Yeah.
Kamala Khan, Monica Rambeau, part of this title group. Superheroes.
The Marvels. The Marvels. The Marvels. The Marvels.
Did I get it? I might have. It's the chicken restaurant owned by Gus Fring. Oh, Breaking Bad. Gus's.
Pollos Hermanos.
It's not called Gus's. Fuck. Too late.
Los Pollos Hermanos.
Music festivals. At the Monterey Pop Festival. I know, too late. He set the guitar. Jimi Hendrix. Oh, set his guitar blaze.
Sure.
Was it Hendrix? I don't know.
Yes, I think.
Tyrion in Game of Thrones. What's his name? The little person.
Jesus. Peter Dinklage.
Peter. No. Portmanteau words. This holiday was a creation of the OC, Orange County. What is portmanteau words?
Combined words.
We don't know. Old school rap. Oh. New York rapper released the album's Illmatic, and it was written.
Nas.
Is that Jay-Z?
Nas.
Nas? Yeah, okay. Got it. Justin Long, Bill Skarsgård. Find out there's more under the surface of a Detroit R&B than appears in this 2022 film.
Oh shit. Fuck, I watched it too. Barbarian.
Is it The Strain?
The Barbarian.
Damn. Oh, that's right. I messed up. This title means loyal, keeping
What?
it real and such.
Oh,
Yikes. Movie songs. The song says, doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number 2.
I'm guessing it's from like a
No
Pixar
idea.
movie.
Yeah. 4 animals in a U.S. zoo end up in this animated title place.
I have no idea. 2005?
Yeah, this is brutal. With the delay, it's very brutal. Alan Cumming hosts this murder-filled show on Peacock.
Nope.
Dude, I hope there's got to be somebody listening that's like, you guys are fucking idiots. Beauty brands. Beyonce launched this hair care line in 2024. You know,
this has taken a drastic turn.
This may not be for us. 90s movies. Ice Cube. Feature film debut.
Boys in the Hood.
Doughboy. Oh, Friday? Boys in the Hood?
Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. Boys on the Hood. It's German. I put. Oh, no.
Jesus.
Title track of Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets Department.
Jesus.
Sorry, Swifties. Sorry, Swifties. Gridiron Stars. The podcast co-hosted by Travis and Jason Kelsey. You know this one. We're just too far delayed.
It's New Heights.
All right.
Yeah, that's, well, we just exited out of it.
I did. It's the delay. The problem was the delay. It wasn't that we didn't know like 20 of the
some
questions.
of it we definitely didn't know. But
I think if nothing else,
yeah,
I think
listen,
if nothing
man,
else, we've established that pop culture.
So here's the problem, is
man.
that you think it was frustrating. How about being me yelling answers and you talking over me saying like, oh yeah, I guess we don't know it. And you're just, and I'm sitting here like repeating the answer and you don't know I'm saying it yet. So it's just, so it kept coming through to him like with like half a second left to type.
I'll say we would have got maybe 5 to 6 more if we would have been on time.
Well, we also bailed 14
Probably.
questions early.
You know what? The writing was on the wall.
Wow.
As Jay-Z once said, it is written.
As on his album Illmatic.
Well, you know what? You can't win them all.
Or even try. Or have any confidence. That's just the name of the game, Jeff.
Here's the thing.
Life's
Now you
about,
got it.
Life's about terrible failures.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that we know it, you have to create a team, and we each have to do it on our own, in our own time.
Mm.
Yeah, this isn't over. This isn't over, you guys. We could still make this.
That's true.
The problem is we also need a third. So if you want to be our third on Jeopardy, yeah. If you like what you saw there, join us.
What kind of recruiting tactic was this episode? Anyone who had any aspirations of playing would be like, I'm not fucking playing with these morons. What kind of weird recruitment video was this? That not
Maybe we can get
fare
back to
well.
the basics.
Mm-hmm.
No.
What I don't even know
How
what that
about
means. I don't think you do either.
how about a question? How about an old-timey question we used to do on the podcast where I can give you room to talk so that we don't have to do things at the same time to combat this delay.
Okay.
One of those old-fashioned catch up, friends catching up kind of questions.
Mm.
I'll do one of those. A little catch up and coffee kind of question, if you will,
The
that I was thinking
original
about the
slogan.
other day as I was going through Spotify. Yeah. I was trying to think of. I was thinking of because I had heard some songs come up on a playlist, like one of my day lists. I don't know if you're a day list person on Spotify. We may have talked about it before, but it creates a day list for you of things that, like, in the afternoon on Thursdays, you usually listen to this kind of music or whatever, and it'll make a playlist of random stuff. Sometimes it's stuff that's already saved on your list. Sometimes it's like new stuff or stuff you haven't heard in a while. But I was like, some of it was like nostalgic music or stuff that reminded me of concerts that I'd been to. And I was like, what's a concert that surpassed your expectations? So maybe either a group or a band that you knew but weren't really high on, but that kind of blew you away, or somebody maybe you had never heard of before, and because of the show, like it made you a fan.
Oh, that's easy for me actually. I think I have to go to this route. Is that Zach Brown band? So I had known about the song like Chicken Fried. This is back in like 2010. I'm pretty sure I was introduced to it in North Carolina when I lived down there. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I mean, at 2010, I had zero exposure to country and I kept it that way on purpose. But that came out and I'm like, ooh, this is really catchy. I'm like, this guy's voice is good. I like the band composition of it. It's really upbeat. It almost felt like it touched like down to like the part of like the Dave Matthews fandom that I had in like the late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm like, okay, I can get down with this. This is collectively a good song. So fast forward to Buffalo, and I heard a couple other songs, and my buddies like, Bob and his wife Beth were like, hey, we want to go to a Zach Brown show. Do you want to go with us at Darien Lake? And I'm like, dude, I'm like, a country live show. I'm like, I don't know. And Bob's thing is always like, he's not country. He's like island music. He's like Jimmy Buffett, sort of. And I'm like, yeah, mixed with country. So I was worried just as much about I'm like, can I listen to a whole set of this type of music? I'm like, and am I ready for this type of crowd? Because for live shows, the crowds I'm used to were mostly ska and punk people and smaller venues and stuff like that. But even like Warp Tour, things of that nature, those were primarily the live shows that I went to. Also, the alternatives would be metal shows that are like arena shows. So I've never done like anything similar or even in the vicinity of a country show. But I agree to go because I'm like, it's something to do. If nothing else, we'll pregame, we go in the parking lot and stuff. So, it's just exactly like a football pregame, people playing like beer pong and having just a hootenanny of a good time. But there's obviously a lot of pickup trucks, a lot of questionable people and garments, and I certainly look out of place. I had no idea how to dress. I kind of want to be I didn't want to stick out as much as I felt I was already sticking out. But like I went to the show and the entire show I was captivated. And like it's just such good energy. They put on a phenomenal live show and they did like 4 covers. And I don't remember what the covers were, but I remember enjoying the fact that they weren't country covers. They were like, I mean, I think one was like a Marshall Tucker band song, but they performed it really well. But they also covered Metallica and a couple other like just like rock songs. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, so he's got his island tropical stuff, which is fun. He's got his country songs. I still don't get really into like his slow country. Like I don't like slow country music at all. But so there's a couple songs that don't stick with me. But generally, he has Zach Brown Band has upbeat music. He's got a great live presence, a live show. They sound phenomenal. It's still that full band feeling. They have great sets and like backup singers and stuff like. It's a pretty big production. They do covers, which I love covers in general, and they go off genre for covers. So that sold me. And I've since been to 4 Zach Brown Band shows, and I'm actually going to another one next month. He is touring
Wow.
with Kenny Chesney. So that's my next step is I'm actually going to a show featuring Kenny Chesney. So that's going to be, I got to do some homework on that. That might be hitting
Yeah.
a little
That's a
harder.
level up.
Now I've been assured it's still in the spirit of like kind of uplifting, like party country stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, but I'm like, I don't know. So, but that's at the Link. So that's going to be a massive stadium show. That's not even an amphitheater. That's in a
God.
freaking professional football
Yeah.
stadium. So I'm sure it's going to be chaotic. But the important part is one thing I did learn is you can't go to general admission shows for these types of stuff. Because boy, especially in my 40s, the Zach Brown lawn seats crowd is not for me. It is a bunch of hammered 20 somethings just tripping over you. And it's chaos because there's no chairs or anything. So it's just like everyone's stumbling. I don't want to do that. Usually when I go see a live show, I'd love to just sit down and enjoy live music. I do not. I removed myself from the pit years ago, but now I don't even want to stand. I just want to sit and enjoy a live music show. So like I love when venues have like seating and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Zach Brown Band was big. I remember when I was in Texas. That was like it's almost like jock country in a way. It's like the
Yeah.
country pop country fans sort of, but the drinking crowd and like the folks that would wear like Under Armour to a country thing. So we probably see a lot of those like American flag Under Armours at the Zach
Oh
Brown.
yeah.
So it's like this hybrid,
Sleeveless.
kind of thing going on.
Not a sleeve in
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that. I mean, I never went to a Zach Bryan, but I always knew people like perpetually in Austin, like the bar crowd would always be going to see Zach Brown. I think it's because it was just party music, good time energy. The ones I was thinking of that blew me away, kind of, and I guess I mean I've seen a lot of like small time bands that blew me away, but I'll go bigger names just for the sake of keeping it more universal. At ACL one year, Muse. Never saw them, never
Ooh.
thought about seeing them. They just happened to be at a stage that I was at, and just the thickness of the sound. I mean, a lot of people know Muse from if you had Guitar Hero back in the day, and they had some radio hits, like Knights of Sidonia, some other ones. They combine like kind of that, but just that thick, like bassy sound, and it sounded like their mix, their just what like the bass, the chugging, like the balance was so good, like you could feel it in your chest. And I was like, they got on and they just knew how to put on like a show to 10,000 people basically, or however many were at that particular stage. Completely blew me away. I was in for it the whole time because I probably knew like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of their songs just from radio or whatever, knowing general rock
Yeah.
music. But it was fucking awesome. The combo, particularly their combo of like guitar riff heavy stuff, but with the electronic, I get into. I guess I didn't know how much I got into it, but just very competent. Like they're one of those bands where it sounded like the recording, but in a good way. Not that it was too perfect, but that it was just is mixed so well. Um, it was awesome. Like it gave me severe, like it's one of those shows you leave and you're like, holy fuck, that was awesome. Like it's gonna keep me up for a while. And then on the other end of the spectrum, in terms of like lower energy, again, just happened to be at a stage during the day. I had heard of her, but I had never seen her. I don't know if I knew her songs, but Lana Del Rey. I'd never seen before,
Okay.
never really considered. Probably had heard a song or two on the radio, but when I saw her live, I just had a crush right away. That's probably part of it, just crushing on her. But it was so like mellow and dark, and like she was like smoking a cigarette up there, and I was like, "Oh fuck, who are you?" I was like, "I love this," but she just had that kind of um, just super, yeah, melodramatic vibe, like poetic, um, gloomy, but the lyrics and the aesthetic really did it for me. It was like one of those where you sit down in the lawn versus like standing, but you just vibe out to it. It's like you can kind of lay on a blanket and like listen to that show. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. I went through like a 3 month phase where I got into Lana Del Rey, and then that got me into like Halsey and all these like mid like 2010s like female pop singer songwriter uh, artists,
Interesting.
and which now yeah, it's now informs like a lot of like I almost exclusively now listen to even like female fronted rock bands for the most part, just because I love like female vocals, especially with like darker music. That's like one of my favorite things in the world now. How about I don't know if you're gonna comment on that, but then I also want to go to the opposite. Where's a concert that you went to where it like definitely left you disappointed?
Yeah.
Did you have one like that?
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say like the female fronted. Yeah, it's always such a different dynamic. Like it's I think I like female like so there's plenty there's ska bands that definitely have female fronted um acts because ska's like pretty light overall, so like female vocals work with it. There's dance hall crashers that actually have two female vocalists. There's Monique Powell from Save Ferris, Letters to Cleo, although they didn't really peak too much,
Ooh.
but there's some really great female fronted ska bands. Punk, it's not for me to have females screaming. So like the metal and punk bands that have females screaming, I don't like. What I do like is a female with just a phenomenal, strong singing voice over heavy metal is awesome. Whether it's more of the like new metal sound or massively large instrumental things like Nightwish and In This Moment and Within Temptation, bands like that, where there's just phenomenal full sounded metal with female vocals over it. That stuff blows me away. And like, I almost forget how much I enjoy it until I get back into the swing of thing. There's a band, Unleash the Archers, that is phenomenal. Del Riata, lots of stuff. So yeah, I agree. That kind of like was opened up briefly to the world with like Amy Lee and Evanescence when they hit the scene. I think that they kind of open
Yeah.
up those doors. But what's her name? Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. Lots of good stuff there. But yeah, okay. Live disappointments. Um,
Yeah.
uh, you know what? Luckily, I don't have a ton that sticks out. I will say sometimes it is tough to make that call because I've seen bands play in really weird settings, and acoustics matter, especially for bands like ska bands because there's so many elements of music happening that if the acoustics are weird, I'm sure it's a nightmare for the soundboard guy to mix them like in the basement of a church and stuff like that. So I'll say the most like meh sadly was the Slipknot show I went to. This would have been in
Ooh.
2008. It was rough because I remember one of the guys, I think one of the percussion players who normally is jumping around and stuff, well, jumped around a little too much. And by the time he got to my show, he had a broken leg. So there wasn't the theatrics there. But Corey Corey Taylor just sounded so winded because he's trying to jump around and go like a madman on stage, But it's like, well, yeah, you're also a human, and I don't know that you have the cardio to be doing that, like the lung capacity and everything. So like it just sounded like I didn't get what I wanted out of it. While the band itself played, I can't help but think of that show and just think of how I was like, damn it, Corey, just stand still so that you can provide the vocals. You have 9 other guys in your band. They'll be the energy. They can run around, jump around. They're not singing into a mic. Like, I'd rather hear really good, clean vocals, clean Slipknot vocals at least, to be able to fully enjoy it, because I love his singing style, and he's one of the best metal vocalists as far as a great screaming voice and a great singing voice. And I felt like I got cheated out of that from that show. But a lot of people have said that they did not experience similar things, but unfortunately that's the only time I've had a chance to see Slipknot, and that's what sticks out for me.
Never seen them. I guess that's like bucket list, just to see them anyway. Just to go to like a fucking. I would definitely watch them from the back for sure, like somewhere way far back, but just to check it out. I would say, well, one would be sort of obvious in a way because he's older, but I caught Bob Dylan at an ACL one year, and it's a hard listen. I'm not like a huge Bob Dylan fan anyway, but I was like, it's like one of those you go to and you're like, oh, cool, I'll see Dylan, Because like I think the year before I saw Paul McCartney and it was like awesome because he had like the whole band. He was doing Beatles songs and like still on top of it, full band. And I was like, holy shit, this was like such a spiritual experience that I think I was too stoned. I had one of my epic super panic attacks. It was like during that, so I went full circle during that show until I literally touched grass with my feet. I had to do that to get up from it. But then Bob Dylan, not that way. It was just a lot of because you could, but Dylan's like,
how does it feel? But now it's like 50 years later.
Yeah, but you couldn't even make out any of the words. So it was kind of, it was so, it was almost sad. It was hard to like listen to, or like I think we ended up just leaving because I was like, this is kind of hard to listen to, like one of those. I was like, I'm just gonna go. Let's come back tomorrow for another day. I wasn't, it's also like I'm not a huge fan either, so I don't think I could appreciate it. But there's an element of like, if you still got it, like it's still like it'll keep you there, and it just didn't keep me there. And then another ACL. I guess ACL works a lot for these because you get to see so many different bands that you wouldn't normally expect to go see. But a band that I mean, was relatively into because they were on the radio and they were fun was like Mumford and Sons because they had that like early 2010s folk pop. They'd play at every party or whatever. A lot of those. Hey, a lot of those songs. Hey, kind of deals and violin and all that. Poppy stuff. Yeah,
their whole
I know.
thing.
Well, that's the problem. Is all of a sudden. Well, then, because the guy's voice is really good, and then all of a sudden you realize during like 30 minutes into the show, we were like, wait, what song is what? Like, I don't think I know which song is. Wait, this all kind of sounds the same. It was like that. So I remember we left. Like, I don't know, it was with, maybe it was with my friend Sarah at the time. I think we just walked. We left the show because you could still hear it. Oh, we were walking away to go get like a cab or something like that. We're like, we could still hear it. It's like, yeah, I think we're good. We're good on this because you didn't like. It's like their songs are good if you only hear one at a time, but then when you hear them all in a row, they're like, oh, this is all kind of too samey, too similar. And it's like, it's good, but it's all you need like some kind of dynamic or you need some kind of like variance in a show, I think, to kind of keep the energy going. So I would say that was like mildly disappointing. And I would still listen to them on a one-off here and there. Like I'll still do one of my favorite playlists on Spotify is to do like a 2011, 2012 like alt or like, alt rock or folk rock kind of thing with like, Monsters of Men, Young the Giant, like all those kind of bands from that era because I have a bit of nostalgia for it, especially in Austin. That was kind of a scene back then, but yeah, it was a little too heavy-handed, I think, with the fiddles, the violins, and and the suspenders and the tweed and all that. Just a little hit
You
a
know,
little too hard.
you know, you mentioned Austin being a scene and that was like a vibe and stuff. You were there for what were the years that you were there for in Austin?
Um, I moved there in like I don't know, 07, 08 or something like that until I guess a couple years ago.
Okay.
About 15
So you're
years or
there
something like that.
you were there long enough and you would you say you were there from the time you got there to the time you left? Was it a drastic change of what Austin as a whole was?
Yeah, it was. And because even when I moved there, it was definitely the beginning of it. But I almost wish I could see like the skyline difference. I mean, you probably can if you just search it on the internet, um, of like where, like how many buildings came up. And now it's so like LA'd out now because, the big thing is like, well, Rogan brought all his comedian friends, like all the California people moved there during COVID, that kind of thing. So it kind of became a scene. It had like a movie scene. It was always like a live music capital. So it always had that vibe.
Right.
But I think it used to be a little more like grungy in a way in terms of like the vibe. And it kind of went Hollywood. And you can definitely feel it. Like, I think in the mid 2010s, like 2014, 15, like it was just like the biggest growth. Like every year it'd have like the highest population growth or something like that. Like tech companies were coming in there, and you could just tell like it became so commercial. Like it almost got overrun by its commercialism. And I'm not saying that in like a punky way of like, oh, it's sold out, because I don't think so. I mean, it's fine. Like if I went back there today, you could find your way in Austin of like however you want it to be. That's what I think it's a great city, is because whatever you want Austin to be, you can make it be like that. If you want to go to like the dingy clubs, go to the small shows, you can do that. You can find whatever food you want to find. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there definitely is more of a Hollywood element. There's definitely more money there. There's definitely more of like an outsider vibe. And I mean, I guess I have to face, I mean, I was part of that. Like, I mean, I moved there in the 2000s, and that's probably the beginning of it. So I contributed to the, you know, that influx. But I
Well,
remember after I was there for like
the
10
influx
years,
of
it was like,
population,
you know,
the influx of population is one thing, but the change of culture, it seems like you embraced the culture that was, and that's why like you stayed there as opposed to like you're bringing in and changing the thing of what it's becoming.
right.
The reason I ask is because when I was there for work, the employees that I was talking to that live in Austin all kind of sentimented that way, that they're like, it's great that people love Austin and know about Austin, but a lot of Austin is like changing. And like when we were at the divey Mexican restaurant that we were at, they're like two of the managers literally were like, if this place closes down or changes into something else, I'm gonna be heartbroken. They're like, this is like
Mm-hmm.
it's just, they're like Lamar, because we were on Lamar Boulevard, and they're like everything on Lamar Boulevard is just like creeping up and getting wiped out for like apartments and stuff like that, or just even new
Condos.
businesses
Yeah.
and stuff like that. They're like, so like it's weird because everyone local to Austin was like, I love Austin, but it's just, I don't know, like I don't know that I don't care. I don't think, no one says like it's getting crowded. They're like, the environment's just changing, and it's almost like, so you came to Austin because it was weird, but now you're doing everything to unweird it and turn it into other big cities. So like it's an interesting dynamic. A lot of people seem to have that same sentiment.
And that's part of being a true Austinite, is once you can finally complain about that, that's when you know you're like fully ingrained in it. Like you got your 10-year chip or whatever, and you can be like, I've been here long enough to complain. But things are always going to change. I'm never somebody that's like, things are changing, that it sucks now, because like that's inevitable. It's part of it. But I also get like, I mean, that's the idea. The Keep Austin Weird slogan wasn't just about being fucking weird and whatever, doing mushrooms and dressing like a hippie thing. It really
Right.
meant like keep big businesses out of Austin. Keep like the strip mall deals or whatever out. Let's keep it local the most that we can. um, but yeah, growth is inevitable. Um, and part of the joy is complaining about it. and it'll hit a bubble. It just everything does at some point. And I think it'll always have a heart. Like I think there's enough people in that town to have the heart of what it is. It's probably the best combination of city living and natural areas that I've ever come across. And in terms of like, I mean, unfortunately and fortunately, it's like a driving city, so it's not really public transportation. Things aren't condensed like they would be in another like metro area. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking about or visiting again. It's been a few years, but it'll be totally different. I mean, this is the best example I have is like in 20, I think the second place I moved to in 2009 or whatever, when I moved with my girlfriend at the time, we got a 1 bedroom apartment. It was right near downtown, right near Barton Creek, Barton Springs area, which is a hot spot, Zilker Park, which is like the central park of Austin. It was like $900 for an apartment. And then 10 years later or whatever, when I was just like looking around at stuff, it was now like $2,500 or something like that for that same apartment room just within like 10 years.
That's insane.
And that's just how much stuff had grown. Yeah. And not that it was worth it, but just that's how much shit blew up. So, yeah.
Well, if you go back, I'll go with you and we'll document the entire thing. You can show me firsthand all of your old stomping grounds, and we'll make it.
That'd be kind of fun, actually.
A special edition, video based, offering that we'll make for the pod.
You know what we should do is go back for an Austin City Limits. Go back for a festival weekend. And we can have a combo of the some shows and then get around the town.
And
I could see some old friends and all that.
If you want, then we could do a Buffalo edition. I could take you around to like weird things that I did while I was in Buffalo, since you've already done the Philadelphia thing. So yep, I could take you on the 8 years of Jeff's life in Buffalo, which were interesting to say the least.
Dude, that's kind of cool. That's a cool idea. Let's put a pin in that.
Put a pin in it. Table it.
Wow, what are we, like people that do stuff now? Maybe like creating life plans out of doing stuff. Wow, so we've come so far. All right, this is the part where I get the song ready for the end. Oh, and the volume doesn't work perfectly. And then we we know that old bit.
The outro is getting literally worse and worse. The outros are getting so bad.
This thing is
just end the episode. I don't even want to close it. I just want to have it awkwardly end. So just play the stupid music.
Yeah, but what if we
don't say anything?